Many brides dream about their perfect wedding from the time they are little girls, but no one ever prepares them for what to expect when it's all over. Nearly 1 in 10 women find themselves suffering from post-wedding blues once the fairy tale day is done. And then, reality starts to sink in. Joining me now is Kimberly Moffit, a psychotherapist and relation expert, and newlyweds Sarah Vero and Kristen Reinex. Good to have you all here.
Good morning.
So I had never heard of this, post-wedding blues. Tell me more about this and how common it is, Kimberly.
Right. Well, there absolutely is such a thing as the post-wedding blues, and research shows that about 1 in 10 women actually have feelings of loneliness, boredom, and even sadness after their wedding day. And I think this is completely understandable from a psychotherapy perspective because we are planning something for a year or more of our lives, all for one special night. So it's very understandable that there'd be kind of a crashing disappointment after that all comes down.
So it's the brides, not the grooms, that are affected, right?
It is indeed the brides. And generally, I think the feeling, and what the research suggests, is that since the brides are the ones that are doing the planning of the weddings, that this is why they're the ones that are feeling a little bit bored after the wedding because they've spent so much time with their family and friends. They've spent so much time getting lots of attention. And they've also had developed a lot of new interest in the kind of party planning aspects of the wedding.
Yeah, their whole life has been geared towards this wedding. Let's get to our newlyweds now. Kristen, when did you get married?
August 31st.
And tell me a little bit about your story now that you've been married for a bit.
So I started feeling sad pretty much the wedding night. I mean, it was immediate for me because, everyone tells you the wedding day is going to be the best day of your life. But for me, the planning process was the best part. I was so attached to everything. I did so much for this wedding. It was so exciting for me. And then I remember every single moment of the wedding day, and I just thought, I don't want this to end. I don't want this to end. And I immediately started feeling sad right after that.
And you'd been planning for some time.
For a year and a half.
For a year and a half.
Yeah, so it was hard. It was very hard to, say goodbye to that and know that it's all over and it's never going to happen again.
Can you relate, Sarah?
Actually, for me, being a bride and wedding planning was overwhelming and stressful. It was a lot of time, a ton of money, and a lot of work. And although I really enjoyed my day, I'm thrilled to be married to my husband, and I will miss the time, like you were saying, that you get to spend with family and friends, and it's always an excuse to get together. But overall, I do not miss wedding planning in the least.
So your story is a little bit different. Kimberly, how long does this kind of thing last?
Well, the post-wedding blues can last anywhere from the night of the actual wedding to a year. So there's a wide range of lengths of time that this can last, but it really depends on the woman and the type of thing she was attached to. And the interesting thing about the research in this, actually, is that the women that were focusing the most on the actual wedding day, so all of the planning leading up to it, were the ones that tended to feel more blue after the wedding. But the women that focused on their married life were the ones that tended to feel more happy after the wedding day.
How do you strike that balance? Because obviously if you're planning the wedding, you're going to be focused on that. But how do you get that other part, the real important part, the marriage after? How do you strike that balance between, yes, I'm planning my wedding, but I've also got to look ahead and think about the days coming up?
Well, it's really important to have a talk with your partner about what married life is going to look like after the big day. And if that means going to see a counselor, and some couples go to counseling through religious institutions and others go to couples counselors for premarital counseling, this is a great idea because it can help you shape what your expectations are going to be after the wedding.
Kristen, how are you feeling now? Are you feeling a little better?
Yeah, I feel a little bit better. It's definitely improved since the wedding day. It's been nearly 2 months now. But there are still certain things that set me off. If I see my wedding dress, I have it tucked away right now. I haven't had it in for cleaning, and it's hard for me to see it because I know I'm never going to wear it again. I love that dress. We recently got our wedding photos back, and looking at them, it was nice, but
it brought you back.
Yeah, a little bit bittersweet because, I look at it and I'm still nitpicking over little things about the wedding and wishing things had gone a little bit differently, and yeah, it's bittersweet, and I'm starting to get over it now and just realizing, it is what it is, and I can't go back. So
got to move on.
Got to move on.
Sarah, you've settled in now.
Yes.
You're all good.
Absolutely, yeah. We've been able to focus a little bit more on our future plans. We were able to kind of come together and focus on where we were going next and what was going to be important. So since we've been able to put aside some money for travel, and we've bought a new car, which is super exciting. So it's all fun and games now. It's about enjoying our marriage.
It's interesting, Kimberly, what you said because about the counseling that happens before couples get married, that maybe this is a conversation that needs to happen before as well.
Exactly. And there are also a few things that women can do if they are feeling the post-wedding blues to kind of get themselves out of that little slump. And I often say when we're planning for the wedding that there's also a couple things that we find that we enjoy doing. So whether it's planning something, or we make amazing candy buffets or cake pops or whatever the thing may be, or we learn to dance with our partners and we realize that we really love it. My best advice is to keep up those activities after the wedding is over. So you have something to look forward to, and maybe you've even developed a new hobby along the way.
Great advice. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Ladies, thank you for sharing your stories.
Thanks, Marcy.